You bought the $3.99 ground beef to win the weeknight dinner game. Smart move on price. But here's the part Aldi doesn't spell out. Since 2015, labels don't have to list multiple countries of origin. That tray can legally blend beef from the US, Mexico, Canada, even Australia, and you'll never see it on the sticker. Stay with me. We'll break down why that matters for quality and health claims, how grass-fed benefits get lost in conventional diets, and the exact labels at Aldi that give you slightly more clarity, plus the additives you should still watch for. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great! Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. You saved at the register, but what did you trade for it? The label tells you almost nothing. That's the design. You get a price and a sell-by date. The story behind the meat stays offstage. Let's start with the $3.99 ground beef win. Aldi nails cost by leaning on big suppliers and blended sourcing. Big runs, steady specs, trimmed options. It looks simple in the case because the complexity is hidden upstream. But here's the kicker. Since 2015, stores don't have to list multiple countries of origin for beef. One tray can be a legal mix from the US, Mexico, Canada, or Australia with no disclosure. You see beef. That's it. No ranch, no feed, no route. Think of it like a smoothie with 4 fruits, labeled fruit. You get calories, not the story of what went in. Same with ground beef. Protein, fat, grind size. The inputs stay anonymous, and so does the risk.
A key ingredient for hot dish keeps getting more and more expensive, and it's causing sticker shock at butcher shops and grocery stores. Why is ground beef so expensive?
Just about everyone has seen or been dealing with higher grocery bills, especially when it comes to meat in particular.
Crazy to think of when I started 20 years ago that prices seemed so low and so manageable.
In August 2024, Americans were paying about $5.58 a pound for ground beef. But this August, it jumped to $6.32 a pound.
The truth is, grass-fed has a different fat profile with more omega-3s and a leaner bite. Most budget beef is grain-finished, which pushes marbling fast. The label seldom spells out feed, pasture, or region. If grass-fed appears, the finished part is what changes the meat most, and that line rarely shows. You spot a USDA choice ribeye at a budget tag and think you scored. Good sear, solid chew. But the cattle source is still opaque. Expect extra trimming, more edge fat, and marbling that swings from slice to slice. Pork and sausages repeat the pattern. Bone-in chops hover around that $2 a pound sweet spot. German-style brats taste great because they lean on curing agents like nitrates and sodium phosphates. You get snap and moisture, but no farm detail. Even seafood follows suit. Sustainable logos show up, but farm or fishery names don't. Shrimp and tilapia routes stay vague, and blends from multiple ponds or boats end up under one tidy label.
People love it, so there's great demand for it. People want to cook more of it. You know, you didn't make much money raising cattle for the last 10 years, and people don't like to work hard at things that don't pay them. And we have fewer cattle, and people are having to spend more to buy those cattle to turn it into that ground beef. And so it's a chain reaction that has many years of consequence. In fact, Americans will eat more beef this year than last year at record prices.
Our suppliers are just kind of telling us that the cattle supplies are a little bit smaller.
Here's your mini payoff. It's cheap because of scale, blended sourcing, low inventory, and minimal traceability. You pay less in dollars, more in certainty. Now let's move on to the organic mirage and the checklist that actually protects you inside Aldi's meat aisle. You see the green leaf and relax. The seal feels like a shortcut to better choices. But at this price, what does it actually promise? Let's start with the basics. Simply Nature organic chicken often lands 30 to 40% cheaper than the fancy aisle. USDA organic is real. It means organic feed, no antibiotics, and outdoor access on paper. Inputs are controlled. Additives are limited. That part works. But the real kicker is how it's raised. You're still looking at industrial barns, long rows, and minimal detail on who raised the birds or where. Outdoor access is a checkbox, not a meadow. You don't get a farm name. You don't get a city. You get a logo and trust. Then there's inventory roulette. One week you grab organic drumsticks. Next week the space is empty or swapped for a different cut. Stock flips to keep costs down, which means your meal plan keeps getting pushed around. The price is steady. The shelf is not. There are deli bright spots. Never any turkey and chicken cut out antibiotics and artificial ingredients. Cleaner labels help. But the origin story still runs thin, so you're buying the claim, not the farm. Processed meats bring their own trade-offs. Bacon and brats, even with nicer branding, often use nitrates, nitrites, and phosphates. That's why the color holds and the bite snaps. The long-term trade-off gets buried under seasoning and smoke. Frozen bulk plays the budget game, too. Big bags of chicken and value seafood stretch meals, but skip organic and welfare tags. You'll see a brand, not a farm.
I think we try to keep it under $6 a pound just about a year ago.
In 1975, the number of beef cattle in the U.S. peaked at 47.5 million. Today, there's just under 28 million, the lowest number since the 1960s. In August 2024, Americans were paying about $5.58 a pound for ground beef. But this August, it jumped to $6.32 a pound.
In fact, Americans will eat more beef this year than last year at record prices.
The seaside repeats it with sustainable stamps that don't always list the fishery. So what is the takeaway? You can get smarter without paying boutique prices. Here's the move you make in the aisle. Read for feed and finish, and watch the fine print that blurs grass-fed from finished. Prefer never any and USDA organic for fewer additives. Then scan for nitrates, nitrites, and sugar glazes. For seafood, trust credible third-party logos and skip vague blends. Buy cuts where swings matter less. Ground beef for sauces, bone-in pork chops, and plan to trim and season. Expect stock swings. Build a freezer buffer when the good stuff shows. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who thinks a green label tells the whole story. The low sticker price is clear. The source of your meat is not. Transparency is the hidden cost, and you feel it in vague labels, blended origins, and ingredient lines that dodge plain answers. Ask better questions in the aisle. Read the ingredients line by line. Build your own short list of safer bets that fit your budget. We'll keep digging into labels and sourcing, with a future guide to decode meat claims and a brand-by-brand audit to cut the noise. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets, and to sharpen your next grocery run.